So not only are we wanting to build up this good bacteria, get our gut process going, help that, overall, but we want to keep down the inflammatory reaction. Processed foods add inflammation. There's certain foods that you can react to that are inflammatory. For some people it's dairy. For some people they have certain food sensitivities. How do I know? We test for them, right? We test for them so you're not just guessing. I went through a food sensitivity test with someone recently, and she was struggling so bad because she felt like she was eating 4 foods. If I eat outside of these 4 foods, my gut goes wrong and da 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 da. Well, one of the things that she would eat when she would try and open up her diet was almonds. Guess what showed up on her food sensitivity? Almonds. And she's like, what? And then she's like, oh my God, I drink almond milk. Is that bad? Hey there, welcome to the Female Health Solution podcast, where we discuss women's health, hormones, and everything else in between. Join me as we dive into the tools that you need to live your healthiest life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Female Health Solution podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Beth Westy. Today we're going to answer the question about, is there a nature's Ozempic or semaglutide, or there's new names for kind of this very similar product that comes out all the time. And there's a lot of information that floats around where people say, oh my gosh, this supplement does the same thing. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it today. Now, as I'm recording this, just so you know, this is based off of the most current information that's available. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I just read this thing, that might have been information that was not available at the time that I'm recording this. So just keep that in mind, because people on the interwebs can be people-y sometimes. So I just want to give everybody information on, options when you're looking at taking any type of product, right? I am always very, very skeptical of anything that claims this is the best thing ever. This is going to fix XYZ. This is going to, etc. Right? And I am really a firm believer in having your body function the way that it was designed to function. When your system functions at its peak, the way it was meant to function, that's when you are your healthiest. It's when certain things get in the way of that optimal function that we have problems, issues, side effects, symptomology, all that stuff, right? Of course. And what are things that can get in the way, right? These can be traumas, toxins, illnesses, injuries, all that, right? There's a lot of stuff like that we're just exposed to as part of being a human on the planet. Right. So keep that in mind, right? So my goal here is just to kind of talk about some different things that I've heard. People have asked me and said, hey, I heard this. And when I hear somebody ask a question maybe once or twice, I'm like, okay. But when I hear people ask the same question like 20 times, I'm like, I should probably I'm going to throw my 2 cents out there. Just throw it out there for your listening pleasure, we'll say. So, nature's Ozempic, is that a thing? And ultimately, when you're talking about the peptide reaction and things in the body, your body makes it naturally. Is there one thing that will cause that same chain reaction in the system? Not really, right? There are a lot of things that you can get, I'm going to say over the counter or whatnot, or, from a physician or things like that, that do mimic, right, plant-based things. There's a lot of medications that are designed that mimic what plants actually do, right? One of the things that I get questions on is specifically berberine. Is berberine like this? No, berberine really does help with gut bacterial balance and can assist in blood sugar regulation. So I would think of it as more equivalent to like what a metformin would want to do in terms of blood sugar regulation and assisting with that. So that's why a lot of women with PCOS will see benefits from using berberine. But again, anytime you're using something, I always recommend working with somebody, because you don't want to take something like that long term. You want your gut to function well on its own and have that balance happen on its own. So keep that in mind, right? But when we're looking at the impact of what a lot of those like GLP-1s do in the body, your body makes that naturally too. How do we get that to happen then? That's what I think people are really asking. Oh, is this one supplement like nature's Ozempic? Is berberine like an Ozempic? In my opinion, no, because it's not encompassing like that. And since your body makes the GLP-1 naturally, we just want to encourage your system then to do that more on its own. Berberine, again, is an assistance. It's an herb. It's a plant-based that can, again, other things are mimicked off of that. So again, just kind of want to separate those things. But in terms of if you're then thinking about, okay, well, if it's not just this one thing, well, then what are things that how do I get my gut and my body to do that? That's a great question. That's a great question. These are things that we really focus on, getting the system to do when we work with women and look at how your body functions naturally. So what are some of these things? I've written them down because I want to really target this. One is getting enough fiber in your diet. And fiber is really important. And it's, a lot of people will refer to it as a prebiotic. And this is, again, based in your gut. Your digestive system is so vitally important for your overall metabolism, metabolic process. And remember, your metabolism is not just how you burn fat. I'm using air quotes here, burn fat or burn energy. It's how you absorb and process nutrients, how you detox things out of your system, and how you utilize burn energy, burn fat, all the things, right? It's those three main categories. So if your metabolism is not working well and you feel like you're not able to utilize energy stores well, it's also going to impact your absorption and processing as well as your detox pathways. So to help that work better, what is the one system in your body that is heavily involved in all those areas? Gut. Gut. Of course. So improving your gut health and function can assist in this greatly, greatly. Prebiotics, probiotics, prebiotics, fibers, getting a lot of fibers. And there's a lot of, if you're getting enough fiber, you're going to feel full and blah, blah, blah. I mean, sure. But remember that feeling full and that satiety feeling also comes from your system just functioning well, having good digestive health, meaning that you don't have any bloat, heartburn, you don't have constipation, diarrhea. You feel like you can eat food and then it moves through your digestive system at an even regular pace. Yeah. That you don't feel like you feel ill when you eat or don't eat. Those types of things. And that you have normal hunger cues at normal times. You should wake up in the morning and feel hungry. I mean, maybe not immediately on waking up, but within 30 minutes to an hour after waking up, you should be like, I need some breakfast. I need some food. Yeah. Here's what I want you to think about. Think about kids. Think about, right? If you think about the humans on the planet right now that have the best metabolisms, children. And if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about, right? Teenagers when they go through growth spurts. Oh my goodness. They wake up in the morning, the second their eyes pop open, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm hungry. I need to eat. Yeah, I know you do. I know you do, because you haven't eaten for the 8 hours that you were sleeping, and that's too much. Like, come on, man. I fed you a snack at 8:30 right before you went to bed, and now it's 6 a.m. and you're starving, right? They eat so much and their little bodies burn it off. Why? Metabolism, growth process, growth hormone, there's a lot of different processes in the body, right? But their gut health is going. So think about this too. If that is a signal for the body that the metabolism is going, and you wake up in the morning and you're like, yeah, I'm not hungry. I don't really feel hungry. I could go past noon. I could go to 1 o'clock. I don't really feel hungry. That's a problem. That's a problem, right? So digestive health, gut health, and again, fiber overall to get that moving. And fiber feeds that good bacteria. We want a good, we want more good bacteria than bad bacteria. Bad bacteria, we're exposed to things all the time. bacteria on surfaces. You share microbiome with people that you live with. You eat at a restaurant, somebody else's house, from a food truck, whatever, right? Whatever. You're exposed to other bacteria, right? You don't live in a bubble, but you need to have enough good bacteria to make sure that bad bacteria, when you come into contact with it, you keep it in check and it doesn't get out of control. That's one of the most important things. How do you help that process? Oh, I'll take a probiotic. Okay. But you shouldn't need to take a probiotic all the time. Like, you can eat fermented foods, things like that, but how do you really feed it, right? Taking a probiotic is like you're trying to plant seeds, but it doesn't help to just try and plant seeds, plant seeds, plant seeds. How do you help those seeds grow? You fertilize it. You fertilize it with fibers. Yeah. Yeah, that's how you get that to really grow and flourish. And that's one of the things that can really, really help. Um, Other things like making sure you're getting enough protein is going to help overall with metabolic process. And then the other thing that really impacts the gut health, and again, the natural production of this, of what your body does, is inflammation. So not only are we wanting to build up this good bacteria, get our gut process going, help that, overall, but we want to keep down the inflammatory reaction. Processed foods add inflammation. There's certain foods that you can react to that are inflammatory. For some people it's dairy. For some people they have certain food sensitivities. How do I know? We test for them, right? We test for them so you're not just guessing. I went through a food sensitivity test with someone recently, and she was struggling so bad because she felt like she was eating 4 foods. If I eat outside of these 4 foods, my gut goes wrong and da 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 da. Well, one of the things that she would eat when she would try and open up her diet was almonds. Guess what showed up on her food sensitivity? Almonds. And she's like, "What?" And then she's like, "Oh my God, I drink almond milk. Is that bad?" She cut out the almonds, and there was a few other things on there, but she really didn't have that much stuff on her food sensitivity test. Honestly, she cut out the stuff that almonds was the main thing that she was eating all the time. Her gut changed drastically, and she was able to open it up to all these other foods that she hadn't been able to eat in a long time. That improved her bloat. That improved the inflammatory reaction that she was having. And that's what improved her metabolic process. Right? So keep in mind, a lot of these things that we're trying to do are manipulate how the body naturally functions. Well, you can do a lot of that through your lifestyle, through just, I want to say simple dietary changes, but they're focused. They're focused dietary changes and really getting the right guidance along the way. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, what are other things that can damage that process naturally? One of the bigger things is stress response, nutrient deficiencies, and knowing if there's something going on in your gut. Now, I love Dutch test. I know we've talked about this. I know you know how much I love me a Dutch test here. One of the things I love about Dutch test, besides testing estrogens, progesterones, and androgens like testosterone, is it tests your adrenal function and your cortisols and cortisone and nutrient levels. There's also a gut marker on here. So just from doing a Dutch test, because sometimes people are like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if a gut test is going to be that helpful. Maybe my gut doesn't feel bad or whatever." This is a great place to start because we can really target and help your system function a lot better. A lot better. From there, moving forward with the things that are specifically going to help you. The beautiful thing about getting your body to do it better is that you're not relying on an outside thing all the time. Because, again, as I'm recording this, I can't tell you how many women that I have actually worked with that have done the Ozempics or semaglutides or the GLP-1s or whatever for a period of time, and then they stop, and then they gain it back. Right? Now, everybody has their own journey. Everybody goes through their own process. If you're listening to this and you're like, I used it, it was fantastic, and it worked for me, and I'm not on it now, and I am doing wonderful. Awesome. Like awesome. Right? I'm not speaking from a standpoint of saying this is the same for everybody. Everybody is different. The women that I come across, of course, they're looking for this type of information of, okay, well, I did this, and either it didn't work for me, it only worked for a short period of time, and then I rebounded back, or now I don't know what to do, or I'm terrified that I'm going to regain this weight back or that this isn't going to work for me in the future. How do I handle this? Yeah, we handle it by getting your body to function better. And a great place to start is with Dutch test. So if you're listening to this and you haven't had a Dutch test, or it's been a while since you've had a Dutch test, make sure you go in these links. Make sure you are clicking that link and getting a Dutch test. It is a urine test. It is sent to your house. You take the test, send it into the lab, and we go over your results and talk about what we're seeing and the next best steps from there. So that's what I got for you guys today. Let me know if you have any other questions, if you need any other help or guidance or anything. That's what I am here for. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you later. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. If you would like more information, just head on over to drbethwesty.com for all the show notes and information from today's episode. And if you're looking for more community, more support, you can find and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and I would love to see you there.